Good evening. This is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Yvonne Msimembo. First, the national news. In its latest report on Tanzania's economy, the World Bank has advised the government to reduce austerity measures and set development priorities to sustain its capacity to withstand world financial and economic crises. Here's more on the report.
Giving the assessment report, the World Bank lead economist for Africa region, Jacques Morissette, said despite enduring recent years' world recess and financial crisis, it is doubtful if Tanzania will continue maintaining the status quo without strategies to increase production, particularly through the private sector.
We believe as well that you have a climatic risk in Tanzania, so it's something you need to take into account. And the third risk might be a little bit fiscal, because we took the assumption that the government will spend less because it has less resources. We believe that it will stick to strategy because actually it doesn't have too many choices. And, but it will be some pressure to spend more. So the question will be to find the right balance. That's why in the report we're arguing very much, if you cannot spend much more, you need to spend better. And we're offering some solution for education, but of course this debate has to be expanded to other sectors as well.
Deliberating on the report, participants including Bank of Tanzania BOT Governor Professor Beno Ndulu proposed increased production in the manufacturing sector and modern technology to create employment opportunities for the youth. The World Bank report indicates that in the past decade, the country's average economic growth was 7%, and it calls on the government to ensure growth coincided with ordinary people's income and take into account population growth of 3% and 1 million youth who will need employment.
Vice President Dr. Garib Bilal has warned against vandalism and theft of construction materials along major roads in the country, saying the government will not hesitate to take stern measures against the culprits. Here's more on the story. Dr. Bilal, on a visit to Rukwa and New Katavi regions, was responding to Rukwa Regional Manager of Tanzania National Roads Agency TANROADS, Florence Kabaka, on increased vandalism and theft of construction materials for major roads being upgraded to tarmac level in the two regions. Engineer Kabaka also warned that upgrading of the roads in the two food basket regions might not be completed on time due to failure by the government to pay contractors on time. He said projects of concern were those being funded 100% by the government, citing the 151-kilometer Sumbawanga-Kinazi and Kibaoni Road, which is being upgraded at a cost of more than 160 billion shillings. Heavy rains accompanied by strong winds have destroyed more than 50 acres of bananas owned by at least 400 households in Kibosho Ward, Moshi Rural District in Kilimanjaro region. Here are the details.
According to villagers of the ward who rely on banana as their main staple food, the heavy rains caused by the storm uprooted trees, banana plants, and also unroofed some houses. They urge the government to help them following the disaster. Kibosho West Ward Councillor Cloud Olomi named the affected villages as Umbwe, Onana, Mkomongo, and Kifuni. He called on people from the villages to plant trees as deforestation in some areas of the ward was the main cause of the storm. During a visit to the ward, Moshi District Commissioner Musa Samizi said his district disaster committee will make evaluation of the loss incurred and establish actual needs of food aid for the victims.
Tanzania Police Force says at least 945 motorcycle passengers were killed and more than 5,000 others were injured across the country last year. Here's a report. The statistics were given by the Temeke Special Police Zone Commander David Misime when opening a course for motorcyclist operators, commonly known as Boda Boda. In addition to calling on motorcyclist operators to observe traffic rules, he also urged them to help the force on information on incidents of crime and offenders. Managing Director of a non-government organization on poverty and environment conservation, APEC, Respicius Timanywa, urged drivers and people at large to observe traffic rules. Drivers and tourist guides have blamed Ngorongoro Conservation Area Authority for failing to do maintenance work on its roads, which has led to recent accidents in the area and threatened the tourist industry in the country. Here's more on the story.
More than 60% of 792,000 tourists in 2010 who visited Tanzania visited Ngorongoro Conservation Area with the spectacular Ngorongoro crater, the world's largest caldera. Complaints of the tourist guides followed the latest accident within the crater rim, in which a French woman tourist was seriously injured and had to be airlifted by helicopter to Olduvai, where she was flown to Nairobi for treatment. Arusha Regional Police Commander Tobias Adenjenya confirmed the accident involving the French tourist, and on the poor state of roads within the crater's rim, he urged Ngorongoro Conservation Area Authority to meet with its tourism stakeholders to resolve the issue.
East African Community EAC Secretary General Dr. Richard Sezibera has called on governments of member states to ensure the people get the opportunity to use information and communication technology in Swahili, the most widely spoken language in the region. Dr. Sezibera made the challenge at the community headquarters in Arusha when launching the 2010 Kiswahili computer programs made by a Microsoft company.
Therefore, again, I want to thank Microsoft for its efforts to avail technology in languages that are familiar to the local citizens. And I do hope that you will continue to work with us and governments to increase investment in projects which enhance economic growth among our communities.
Information. So access to information is a human rights issue. And that is how I would like us to look at it, so that governments ensure that every single citizen have access to information via technology.
The business community in Arusha region has urged the government to address effectively challenges facing Tanzania Revenue Authority, including some of its executives condoning corruption malpractices, particularly in border areas. Here are the details. During a meeting with TRA officials to discuss challenges on the issue of services to clients, some traders said despite being improved performance of the authority, there were still menaces which needed to be addressed. Responding to the complaints, some TRA officials urged members of the business community to extend their cooperation to the authority to identify and deal with those who tarnish the image of the authority. Mobile phone operator Tigo has launched an international long-distance promotion where one lucky winner will win an all-expense-paid trip to any destination. Tigo Public Relations Officer Alice Maro says the promotion will be held between February 22nd to April 22nd this year.
Customers who spend more than 1,000 shillings on international calls will automatically qualify themselves to enter this promotion. The more you spend on international calls, the more you increase your chances of winning. There will be 50 winners at the end of this promotion. The first 49 winners will win the Tigo bag, which will contain the Ideas phone, the key holder, the Tigo t-shirt, and the Tigo pen. The 50th winner will be the one who will win this main prize, which will be the air tickets to go to any country that they call the most.
And that's the end of the national news. The African news is next after the break.